everybody, welcome back to my channel. Apologies that it's been a really long time since I've filmed anything. I was focusing really hard on my classes and making sure that I was passing them and all of that. Really good semester that I had, by the way, in case you were wondering. So I did a video like this a couple years back, but I wasn't prepared for it. I was kind of winging it a little bit. So I'm gonna scrap that old one. This will be the new good one. So for all of my incoming college friends, this video is for you. I hope you take something out of it. I hope the advice is good for you. Some of these tips were taught to me by my dad, who is a college graduate. Some of the other tips were taught to me by one of my big sisters, who's a college graduate. And then some of these tips I learned for myself. Without further ado, here we go. The first and probably one of the most important tips that I have is to not do the 8 a.m. If you're not gonna get up for it, it's a waste of your time and your money to schedule yourself for a class that you're not gonna get up for. 9 a.m. was a little for me, but I found that 10 a.m. was a really good time for me because it also gave me time to establish a good morning routine being away from my parents for the very first time. If you're going to be living in a dorm, this tip is for you. Your roommate is most likely not going to be your best friend. Now, it's important to get along with your roommate, absolutely, but from my own personal experience, my roommate was not my best friend. For the fall semester, we weren't like close, but we got along pretty well. And then for the spring semester, we didn't talk at all. Take that as you will. Get along with your roommate, but be prepared for the idea that they're probably not gonna be your best friend. Tip number 3 is to go to your floor/residence hall meetings. They're boring, I know. You have better things to do, I know. But these meetings are super crucial. They'll tell you about anything that's going on campus in general, any updates that are going on with the building that you're living in, on the floor that you're on. It's really important. It's also a really good opportunity to meet new people, especially if you're brand new. Take advantage of that opportunity. Tip number 4 is to bring your containers to the dining hall. You're paying for the food, take it. This is mainly for those that are on a 5-day meal plan like I was. I would bring my Tupperware containers in a reusable water bottle. I'd fill up on like salad, pizza, cereal, sandwiches, stuff like that. And then I'd take that reusable water bottle and I would fill it with milk. So I had milk for my cereal and stuff for the weekend until Monday came around and I could use my meal swipes again. Something that is super important that I did not take advantage of myself that I should have and I regret not doing is going to the gym. The freshman 15 is very real despite how people may joke about it. Going to the gym is also a really good escape for your mind, especially when you're like stressing about finals and stuff like that. As long as you have your student ID, which you should have on you at all times anyway, the gym is free. Please go. It is so important to keep up with your health. This is one thing that I learned for myself, and it was to make friends with at least one person on your floor. Going to the floor meetings and residence hall meetings is a good opportunity to do this. Because like I said earlier, your roommate's probably not gonna be your best friend, so you need to make friends with someone that's going through the same thing that you are, and making friends with at least one person on your floor, very beneficial. I made friends with one person on the floor that I was living on in my residence hall, and we are still friends to this day, almost 10 years later. So, another thing that I didn't take advantage of is making the most of the professor's office hours. People like to say that your professors don't care about you as long as they get their money from the university, they don't care. And maybe some don't. But that is actually a huge misconception. Your professors do care about you. They want you to pass their class because they don't want to see you again the next semester. And maybe some of them genuinely don't care, but in my experience, any professor that I've had has cared about their students passing their classes. I never went to office hours, but I did always email my professors if I ever had any questions. Just making sure that you build that good relationship with your professors is important, especially if you're gonna need like letters of recommendation and stuff in the future. Your professors do care. They want you to pass their classes. So when you need help, ask for it. And this is something, I can't remember if it was my dad or my sister that taught this one to me, but don't study in your dorm all the time. Now, it's good to hang out in your dorm every now and then because that is where you live. You wanna be comfortable in your dorm. That's where you sleep, that's where you eat, that's where you work, all of that. However, cabin fever, especially in a dorm, is a very real thing. If I wasn't studying in my dorm, then I was studying in the library. The university that I went to for my first year of college had a beautiful library, and I actually enjoyed getting out of my dorm and studying at the library a lot. And it was a nice day, then I would find a good place to study outside. I'd bring my blanket with me, bring my computer, my textbooks, and I'd be out there for like 2 to 3 hours at a time, give or take, because I was living in Kentucky at the time, and Kentucky has very, very bipolar weather. This is something that my dad encouraged me to do, and it was, if you qualify, take advantage of the work-study program. This is something that you will apply for when you're filling out your FAFSA. For those who don't know what your FAFSA is, that is your federal application for student aid. So that would be the grants from the government that you'll get to pay for your tuition and books and all of that. But work study allows you to work on campus while obviously studying, hence work study. I did work study for my spring semester of my first year of college, and I actually got to work at the front desk of the residence hall that I lived in, which was very convenient. I worked 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. So I would use that time to catch up on homework, reading, notes, and if I got caught up on that, I was catching up on Criminal Minds because I was falling behind a little bit. At another school that I went to, I also got to work at the Einstein Brothers Bagels shop in the student center. Take advantage of the work study program if you can. Double check to make sure that you qualify for it. This is something that I didn't do that I should have, that was encouraged to me by my parents, and that was to find an extracurricular to do on campus. Now this could be anything. There's always some intramural sports going on at the gym. There's a club for literally everything at a college. Find something. Or even volunteer. If you're gonna be rushing for Greek life, then volunteer hours are actually, as far as I'm aware, are required as part of Greek life. But I volunteered some when I was in high school, and I actually had so much fun doing it. I encourage everybody to volunteer just to volunteer. It makes you feel really good about yourself, and depending on what you're doing, I had a lot of fun. So if you don't do any other extracurricular, volunteer. My last tip, which is probably one of the most important, is to do your best, but don't overstress. When you're stressing, especially if you're stressing at a maximum level, you're not going to do your best work. You're not going to perform at the level that you know that you're capable of. So it's good to find some coping mechanisms for stress that are quick and easy to do. That way you can focus. A couple months ago, I was writing my final paper for my business class. I had to come up with a hypothetical business and come up with a business plan for it. And when it came to the marketing and industry research, I was falling really, really short. I was getting really stressed because I was falling really, really short, to the point where I was sitting at work almost in tears because my research was just, nothing was coming up in it. So I took a step back, took a deep breath, recentered my focus, and I got my paper done. I got a 95 out of 100 on the paper, by the way. So I was stressing for literally no reason because it was a fantastic paper. The tips were kind of brief. I did more in-depth explanation on the tips on my blog posts that I made a couple months back for it. I've been meaning to make a video, but I've just been super, super busy. But I didn't want it to just bombard you with explanation. So if you're more of a reader, you want something more in-depth, you can go check out my blog. I made 2 different posts. One, I made a post for just about the tips that I explained. And 2, I made a post about my college journey, mainly because I wanted to show what it was like going back to school as an older student. I say older because in a normal society, a college graduate will be 22 years old. I went to college right out of high school when I was 19. Went for my first full year, then I withdrew from the university, and then I transferred to another university. I was there for 1 semester. That did not work out at all. Then I moved, and then I actually transferred to another university after that was probably a 2-year kind of break in between courses. That didn't work out, mainly because I didn't let it work out. And that was maybe 6 years ago now. And then if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know in October of 2024, I posted a vlog about me going back to my school to inquire about the process to get back into classes, reapplied, re-enrolled in courses. And this past spring semester was my first semester back in classes after 6 years. And it was the best semester that I've ever had academically in my college career. I felt it was important for me to talk about going back to school as an older student because I wanted to show that the road to college and in college isn't always going to be smooth. There's going to be speed bumps, stop signs, yield signs along the way. And it's how you get over those bumps, how you get through the signs is what matters. Before, I really wasn't focused on getting my education, and then life happened. Some pretty serious things happened, and it was what I needed to give me the motivation to go back to school and establish a better future for myself. And college probably isn't going to be the road that you go down. You never know if you don't try, but sometimes college just isn't for everybody, and that's okay. For a while, I thought that college wasn't going to be for me, but it was important for me to have an education, so that's why I went back to school. And I also remind myself of my dad. My dad was in the Army, so he was going to college off and on for nearly my entire life. He officially retired from the military when I was 20 years old, I want to say. But when I was in high school, it was my full 4 years of high school, he was finally able to go back to college because he wasn't going to be deployed anymore. So he was a full-time dad, full-time soldier, and officially a full-time student. And he was in his late 30s, early 40s at that time. And I just turned 28. So I was really worried just because society deems a college graduate at 22 years old. But people like my dad had to go back later in life to go to school. My mom is 48 and she re-enrolled for courses as well. So she's gonna be going to school. So I had to remind myself that there really isn't a time limit on school. I just gotta do the work to get there. So if you're right out of high school, going to college, I hope this helped. And if maybe you've been out of school for a while and you're going back to school, I hope this helped give you the motivation that I needed years ago to go back. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you all found it helpful in some way. Don't forget to check me out over on my Instagram and my TikTok. Those links will also be in the description down below. Check out my blog as well. Like I said, I posted 2 different posts about just my college journey in general. And I also have different kinds of content on there. So go check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. And I will see you soon in my next video whenever, maybe. Bye, friends.